What is up, everyone? My name is Jerichoholic8704 alongside
Edgehead3131. How's it going?
All right, so it's kind of hard to explain this title. I think I'm just going to eventually decide on great matches we can't get behind, and then of course I'll put the featuring Edgehead3131 because you still aren't qualified enough to get your name into the actual channel, but you know, it's neither here nor there.
I mean, I feel like that's more of a you thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's true. I'm very possessive of my 3 subscribers. Anyway,
Yeah.
The scenario I've kind of built up at this point is, and this is how I described it to you when I floated this idea, was imagine you're hanging out with your buddies, which is also kind of a stretch because when have you ever been with more than one person that likes wrestling? That just seems like a far-fetched idea.
It was that one time for All In.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
I think that was it.
There was a maximum of 3 wrestling fans. That was honestly
crazy.
That actually might be a record for me too, now that I think about it. But anyway, so you're with your buddies and you're just chilling, and then you're like, hey, let's watch like a classic match, and you're like, oh yeah, it's a great idea, and then you just like let your friends decide, like, you guys pick whatever match you want, I don't care which, and then they come up and they say, hey, we're gonna watch this match, and then you're in the back of your head, you're just like, ugh, why'd you have to pick that one? That is what we're getting at here. The matches that make you say that. Just like, ugh, do I have to watch that one? You might know it's great. You might respect the match for all it's worth and its value from like a historical standpoint or an in-ring standpoint. But the fact of the matter is, you don't want to watch it. You just don't like it that much. So I will start. I know you said you had a couple matches. I got a couple matches listed as well. But the first one I'm going to mention is not necessarily it's not one particular match. It's more just a general rule. And for me, the first one is any Iron Man match. So this is not to say that all Iron Man matches are inherently bad. As a matter of fact, I think most of them are pretty good, especially when they tell a good story. I'm thinking of the classic Iron Man matches like Bret and Shawn, the Undertaker, Rock and Triple H from Judgment Day, where Undertaker returned as the American Badass in the last couple minutes of that match. I think of Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle from SmackDown, which are kind of regarded as like the top tier Iron Man matches. And I don't know, man. I personally just like, I've seen all those matches like once or twice, and I have no desire to ever watch them again. And it's not just the fact that like I know who's going to win, because I've rewatched matches multiple times knowing who's going to win. So it's not like, oh, the ending's spoiled for me, it's not worth it. It's just Iron Man matches are at their peak when you're watching it for the first time. And I'm sure you could say that about a lot of wrestling matches, but I wouldn't say that's inherently true for all of them because, upon rewatches, wrestling matches can get better. But I think Iron Man matches are at their peak when you're watching it for the first time where you don't really know the score. And I think in more recent times, WWE has gotten really lazy with how they book Iron Man matches because it's the typical, like, babyface is the underdog, and then, oh no, like, will they tap out in the last minute? Like, how many times have we seen that shit? You know what I mean? I think, those 3 that I mentioned, like Undertaker's return at the Rock and Triple H match, probably, I think, makes the whole match worth it. And it was a good match from the start. And I do like in like the Kurt Angle Brock Lesnar match, they did like that little ploy where like Brock Lesnar intentionally got disqualified when he like beat Kurt Angle with a chair so he could have the advantage for the next couple of minutes, which was like a really like, kind of a cool thing they did. But regardless, it's just, I find them all very boring just because I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm waiting for that clock to hit 0. Like, that's my end goal. No matter how many times I watch the match, no matter how good it may be, I just get caught up in the clock. And if I know the score before it's over, it's just like a lot of the magic of the Iron Man match is lost on me. So if I've never seen it, sure. But I don't know, man. Just the idea that I just have to rewatch a whole hour or 2. And that's the other thing. It's long, like it's a long match. So I don't know. I can't get behind Iron Man matches upon a second viewing. I can't do it.
Wow, that's pretty deep.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just like, to all those Iron Man marks out there, it's a rough time.
Yeah, I mean, again, not discounting any of the matches, but like, I feel like somebody might want to argue, oh, like, what about a Royal Rumble? I mean, at least the Royal Rumble, like, is pretty sporadic.
Yeah, exactly. Extremely different. That's like apples and oranges.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty. So, my first entry, very different. Definitely one of like, especially back in the day, like if you heard that like this was the stipulation for the match, you were like, oh shit. But something that's also definitely died down, and that's Hell in a Cell. The match that I've gone for is the Undertaker and Mankind, like that one that like absolutely obliterated Mick Foley's body and organs and everything. Um, Again, not to like discount anything about the match. It's just like I know all of like what happens, and it's not like a jump scare. Like holy fuck, like like even though you know what's gonna happen, it's just like after every time watching it, like still seeing him motionless. Like I just can't really do that. I guess I don't know if that makes me a pussy or not, but
I mean, like you were before you started this video, so I mean,
yeah, fair.
what
fair.
more could happen? But I get what you're saying though, because I mean, like the match, even though I actually think this match is great, post Mick Foley death, like for the 15 minutes they go after the two famous spots, I still think it's a very good match. But I get your point though, because this match, regardless of how great it might have been, is famous for being thrown off the cell and the chokeslam through the cell. And I mean, even the chokeslam through the cell, which Mick Foley has said was the worst of the two bumps, that one's not the famous one. The famous one is the being thrown off the cell. And I mean,
we see that replicated like every other year.
Yeah, no, I feel that. And like, I mean, it's plastered over every highlight package of not just Hell in a Cell, but just like then, now, forever. Yeah. And it's like, I get that. I get that sentiment of just like, if you've seen the spot, you've basically seen the match. That's for my first one. Well, it's a nice segue to my next one, because it's also a Hell in a Cell match. And it's Shawn Michaels versus Triple H from Bad Blood 2004. Now, the thing about this is a long, I think it might be the longest. It definitely is the longest Hell in a Cell match. I can't think of a Hell in a Cell that's gone longer than this one. It's like 45 minutes long. And I mean, Shawn Michaels and Triple H obviously have a bit of stroke, and, like, they could take up that time. They could take that spotlight. And this was designed to be, like the big feud ender between Shawn Michaels and Triple H. And I think when I was younger, I really bought into the fact that Shawn Michaels versus Triple H was this heated feud, or like, this like epic feud. But when I look back on like some of the best feuds in wrestling, I don't even know if I would put Shawn Michaels and Triple H that high. I mean, they've had like good moments, like this, like their stuff in 2002 when Shawn Michaels came back, the SummerSlam match, the, Elimination Chamber, and the 3 stages of hell. Like that was a cool moment. And then like it completely died down in 2003. Like they'd had like sporadic meetings here and there, and then it kind of bolstered back up in early 2004. But WWE treated this Hell in a Cell match like it was like Rock and Austin in Hell in a Cell, which was like, that feud was nowhere near as close to the caliber of Rock and Austin. And like both guys have had better feuds in their career, like HBK with Brett, Triple H with Rock and Austin. Like, they've had amazing feuds, not with each other. But they, like, WWE marketed this as like the clash of two titans. And there's nothing wrong with having a long match. And there's nothing wrong with having a long Hell in a Cell. And I mean, if this was supposed to be like the epic feud ender, then you would expect it to be kind of an epic match. But this match is more long than it is epic. And I think the problem I have with it, and it is a good match, like it's not like, a pain to sit through. But my thing is, if you're going to have a 45-minute Hell in a Cell match, you better have the best Hell in a Cell match of all time. And this is nowhere near the top tier Hell in a Cell matches. I would even say like the Mick Foley Undertaker match is better than this. And I mean, the first Hell in a Cell I still hold is the best Hell in a Cell match. And I mean, like, I would say like the Undertaker Edge Hell in a Cell match from SummerSlam, or the Randy Orton Undertaker match from Armageddon, like the 6-way from Armageddon 2000, like and Jericho and Triple H from Judgment Day. I think all those Hell in a Cell matches are better than this one. And they're all, at least 10 to 15 to 20 minutes shorter than this. So it's kind of a slog to sit through when you just know there's better Hell in a Cell matches out there. Even some of the modern Hell in a Cell matches are better than this one. I just don't think the time is really worth the quality. It's just, it's not there. And it's good. Like, it's definitely a good match. And it is, definitely one of the better matches of, 2004. But I don't know, man. Like, it just, I haven't rewatched it since, like, I don't know, since I was like 14. You know what I mean? Like, it's been forever, and I have
Yeah.
no desire to ever see this match again.
So this one, I know is like always touted as like being the absolute best of what it is, and it is my favorite match of the year. However, the 92 Rumble, I think,
Yeah,
is the one that like everybody says is the best. I like it's a really good Rumble. I just don't think it's better than 2001.
Yeah, no, 2001
Which,
is
I mean,
definitely
like,
up there.
Like, and it's not even that it's a bad Rumble, it's a good Rumble. It's just like, I think for all the praise that it's gotten, I feel like I would have expected like more, or for it to be like absolutely better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this also could be a matter of like you showing your age, because I mean, like there are a lot of, you know, like Takers in this, Flair, Shawn Michaels, like guys who have stuck around for, you know, like our era. But I mean, 2001 is going to have more names that we recognize and that we remember, even if it was the tail ends of their careers. Even guys like Austin and Rock, who were kind of gone before we kind of were really, like full-time fans. You know, it's just like those names are a little bit more synonymous with our generation. So I can understand like the disconnect you would have from 92. Now, that said, I think 92 is a fucking awesome Rumble, and you're just like a fucking dumb mark for not liking it. But whatever. Tis neither here nor there.
Tis neither here nor there.
Alrighty. And then, this is another one. Listen, I don't mean to hate on Triple H, because, like, I kind of got on him with the Iron Man match. I just talked about him with the Hell in a Cell. But here's another match. And I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this one, but, you know, you might. Undertaker and Triple H from WrestleMania 27. Dude, listen, compared to the match they had the next year, the Hell in a Cell at Mania. Oh yeah, and throw the end of an era Hell in a Cell match in the list of Hell in a Cell matches that are better than Shawn Michaels and Triple H at Bad Blood.
Well, I mean, that match actually, that was probably my favorite match at 28.
Yeah, oh definitely. I think that match stole the show. Undertaker and Triple H from 27. It is good. Like it definitely is good. And I think it's in a weird spot because compared to the rest of the 27 card, like this match was a fucking bazillion stars, because 27 just, I don't know, man. You can't get me to like any other match on that card except for this one. This was like the diamond in the roughest rough. But at the same token, like this match is kind of part of a 4-year-long storyline between the 2 Shawn Michaels matches and then the 2 Triple H matches. And when you compare this match to those 4, or like, you know, those other 3 matches that surround it, yeah, dude, it does not compare. Like the 28 Hell in a Cell is awesome, and then the Shawn Michaels matches are on a whole nother level. And I remember like when this match, like when 27 first went off the air, people were like, oh my god, like the Triple H match was better than the Shawn Michaels matches. And I was like, are you fucking high? Like what the fuck?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, and it's like I actually honestly like their WrestleMania 17 match more than this one. I really like, even though that one might technically might not be better, like, you know what I mean, like it might not be like the best match. It was something different, like because like 90% of the match is just them brawling in the crowd, and like the refs knocked out for like 20 minutes. Like it's just kind of a wacky Attitude Era match, but it's fun, you know what I mean. And I just think like the 27 match, it has the worst, I think, like just the worst pacing. I think it kind of drags at times, and it does have cool moments. Like when Triple H hit the tombstone on Undertaker, that was probably even more so than that.
I went crazy.
Yeah, no, dude, I think that was the moment where I thought like, you know, like the streak might have been over. I think that was the time they got me the most. So like, I'll give the match credit there. But I mean, dude, I think I rewatched the match like a couple months after WrestleMania 27. And then I just haven't touched it. I have no desire to watch that match.
I mean, I feel like that also, you having no desire to watch that match also just comes from you not wanting to have to look at WrestleMania 27. I mean,
that's very true.
I would say that was the best match, but like that's still just such a subpar match, especially for 2 like legends, like the way the commentators always say, oh, like first bout Hall of Famers. Like, yes, but like this match isn't great, and it's for it to be the best match on a WrestleMania and for it to be a pretty subpar match for like the caliber of wrestlers, yeah, it's just doesn't really work out well.
And I mean, the match itself, I think it was almost like it was the prequel to the Hell in a Cell match. And again, I think it's good. Like, it is a really good match. I think, like, when I initially, like, if I were to give, like, a star rating, I'd probably give it, like, 4 stars. Like, it's a really good match. I just think there's parts of it that are just really, even the ending, like, the Hell's Gate submission, like, it makes sense in context of the, like, Undertaker's injuries, because, like, if Undertaker was as battered and broken as he was after this match, like, he wouldn't be able to do a chokeslam or a tombstone or whatever. But I don't know. It just seems like such a flat ending. I don't know. I very much am not a big fan of this match. And it's just, and again, I think it's a slog. I think it's rough to sit through. And I mean, that's just a trend I've noticed with all the matches I've picked. You know, they're 30 minutes plus. And I'm not saying you can't have great 30-minute matches. My favorite matches of all time are, 25, 30 minutes. So it's not like a time issue. It's just how you use that time. And I think they've made better use of because I mean, the Hell in a Cell match next year was roughly the same time. Like, maybe a couple of minutes longer or shorter, but it was roughly the same time. And that match flew by. And I could watch that match anytime. But 27, I don't know, man. I just think there's better options. I think, and it's kind of like the Hell in a Cell match, like, principle, where it's like, there's just better Taker Triple H options. And there's almost no reason to go back to this match unless you want to, like, marathon them. You know what I mean?
Or you want to just watch, well, yeah, marathon, also just, like, the streak, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's the only real way. I mean, maybe there are people who think this is the best, WrestleMania Taker match or best Triple H match or whatever, but I also
God, wouldn't that be a crime?
I just, there's many others. All right, so yeah, that's my rant. I have one more, but I don't know if you have any others.
Yeah, I have like a small collection of matches just because it's all of them.
Go for it.
And don't get me wrong, I know what everybody says about them. I know they are, for all intents and purposes, the greatest matches of all time. However, they're just so long.
Are you about to say what I think you're gonna say?
Dude, I am.
Are you gonna say Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair?
No.
Oh, I thought you were going. I thought that's the route you were going. Oh.
No, what I'm about to say is, okay, maybe worse. I don't know. Personally, again, nothing wrong with the matches. They're just so long. Is the Kenny Omega Kazuchika Okada?
That was my second guess, and I'm like, that's our generation's Savage and Steamboat. You fucking dickhead. Yeah. Okay.
Dude, I know, like, dude, it's so long.
And okay, so I'll give you this. You don't watch a lot of New Japan, right?
I mean, I watched all of them multiple times, thanks to your New Japan World.
Right, login. Of course. Yeah. Okay. So, no, I'll let you explain yourself. Go for it.
It's really nothing more than, it's a great match. All 4 of them great matches. They all tell a different story, or what it is. But just seeing, like, watching all those matches, they're all barn burners, they're all classics. But it's just hard to sit through when like the next one's just as long, if not longer.
Mm-hmm.
And like they also all fluctuate in quality based on like what you're feeling when you watch them, and that's just so much work for me to do, to just like keep track of which one I like the most.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm thinking about it.
Down to me being a lazy fuck.
I mean, yes, and I think that is what it is. Listen. So here's what I'm thinking. First of all, how dare you? Second off, I can agree with what you're saying in the sense that like all the matches, with the exception of the G1 match, which even for G1 standards is kind of long because like they almost hit the 30-minute draw limit.
30-minute draw limit.
But I mean, the thing about it though is they kind of had, the thing about it is they almost had to, they blew their load, I guess you could say, at Wrestle Kingdom for the first match, because that match went like 45 minutes. And if you were going to tell this story that they were going to tell with these 4 matches, you had to up the ante every time. You had to they had to go to the hour draw at Dominion, because like the story, it gradually got to the point where it's like Okada Okada beat Omega at the Tokyo Dome. And then Okada was on the verge of beating Omega again, but the time limit draw saved by the bell, and then you get the draw, and then you have Omega actually beating Okada at the G1 within the 30-minute time limit. But then the question raised is, can Omega go with Okada for longer? Can he do it again? Can he beat him 2 out of 3 times? And that's what sets up the 4th match, which had to go above an hour because you've already done the hour-long draw. So I get what you're saying about, like, dude, all the matches are fucking marathons, with the exception of the G1, which I think, like, if you're going to show anyone an Omega-Okada match, I would honestly show them the G1 match because it's the shortest. And it's an easy story to follow because it's like Kenny Omega has to put, in the way the points were, it's like Omega had to beat Okada, Okada just had to tie. So, like, Okada just had to get to 30 minutes, which he could do easily. Omega had to beat him, which he's never done before. And it was the first time he hit the One-Winged Angel. So, I do see what you're saying. I think though, like, for instance, like with my Shawn Michaels Triple H Hell in a Cell thing, you could shave off 25 minutes of that match and it would have been a million times better. But you could not do the same thing for Omega Okada, not because they can't have a great match in 30 minutes, because they did at the G1. It's because the time itself was so integral to the story itself. But yeah, all right, so if that's your final one, that probably should have been the one we ended on, but I'm going to end on one more. Because, I mean, it doesn't get spicier. There's no spicier take than what you said about Okada and Omega. So I'm going to end with a less than spicy take. But my final one is a match that I kind of have a vendetta against, and that's Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon in the ladder match at SummerSlam 1995. Dude, okay, look. I don't know if you ever seen my giant cum sock from when I watch the WrestleMania 10 ladder match, but I fucking love that match. I think it's like literally one of the greatest wrestling matches I've ever seen. I might say it's the greatest WWE match of all time, depending on how I'm feeling, but it's definitely at the very, very least top 5 for me. I think the WrestleMania 10 match is flawless. I think it's perfect. I think it's a paradox in that it is so innovative and yet it will never let any other match surpass it. Like, it laid the foundation for all other matches to build upon, but no match will ever be able to top it, which is just a paradox in and of itself. This match is so great, and the SummerSlam match is good, but the idea that these two, who had a flawless ladder match, can go and have a match that is just nowhere near as good. It's just, I have a bitter taste in my mouth every time I watch this match, which is like 2 or 3 times, because I just can't stomach it. It's just nowhere near the level of WrestleMania 10. And I'm look, we're all entitled to our opinions, but if you think the SummerSlam match is better, I would really, like, I respect your opinion. You are still a great wrestling fan. You are no more or less a wrestling fan than I am, but I just need to understand the reasoning, because I just don't get it. Not to mention, this match is filled with botches. Shawn Michaels throws a fucking, like, temper tantrum, like, in the first second of the match because the ref, like, when he hung the title belt, like, he didn't hang it properly, like, towards the hard cam, and Shawn Michaels, like, fucking shits his britches, and, like, he orders the title belt to fall back down so he can, like, change it himself. Like, and it was classic, like, Shawn Michaels temper tantrums. And then at the end, like, Shawn Michaels, I think, falls off the match is like a mess. Like, it's just a fucking disaster. And I mean, it is fun. Like, it's cool. And I mean, they had that added stipulation where you couldn't use the ladder as a weapon. So perhaps that was what handicapped them to, not have a great of a match as they did at WrestleMania 10. But again, I love and respect you as a wrestling fan if you say the SummerSlam match is better. But I don't know if you would ever be able to sway me. I just don't think that's possible. And I'm coexist, man, coexist. But my God, I can't get behind this match. And if someone ever wants to watch it, I'm like, we're watching the WrestleMania 10 match. Because again, it's the same principle of there are better options out there. You can't have me watch the SummerSlam match when I know the WrestleMania 10 match exists. You just can't do it. All right. Well, that is probably that should be it. I think I've worked myself up into a tizzy. So
I think.
yeah,
So
that's going to be it for me. My name is Jerichoholic8704.
I'm Edgehead3131.
And I'll see you guys later.